As you guys can imagine, I have finally finished collecting a series that has taken a long time for me to finish collecting, so stay tuned to find out more. Hey YouTube, and welcome into another haul video here. This is Mandak coming at you guys with haul video number 140. So again, hope you guys are having a great week, a great month, a great day. Not really the exact order of progression there, but anyways guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another haul video here. I hope everything's going well, as I mentioned earlier, and yeah, so I have a bunch of stuff here we'll go through. I don't have any Pokemon cards here to show, unfortunately, but we do have stuff for both the comic book section, certainly, and the Lego section. So we'll go through those as well. And I also do have one extra thing comic book related that I'll show at the beginning of my comic book section here for haul video number 140. It's pretty cool. I picked it up at the Disney store that was near me, so really cool to get that as well. But yeah, we'll go over all that stuff here. I'll kind of explain where I got all my stuff, you know, in different sections, but yeah, let's go ahead and get into it, and let's start with the comics. All right guys, so thank you so much for tuning into the comic book section here of this haul video. So before I get into my haul, I do want to talk about what I've been reading this past week, I guess, or since probably about a week since I did my last haul video. Yeah, so this is probably a foreshadowing for what's to come in this haul video, but I have started reading Attack on Titan. I'm currently into volume 11 of the series, 11 of 34 volumes, so I'm about a third of the way through the series, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's just very different from anything I've read before in a very good way. And there's just a lot of plot twists, a lot of action, which I really like. And yeah, it's a page turner for me. And that's what I love so much about it. You know, I've been going through probably about a volume and a half each day now. So definitely going at a good pace here. And I anticipate probably being done with the series by the middle to the, you know, kind of towards the end of July probably is when I'll be finished with it. But yeah, really enjoying it, and we'll talk more about it here in this haul video as well. But before I get to my haul, I do want to talk about something I did pick up, as I said earlier, at the Disney store near me. So a couple of weeks ago, I did go to the Disney store with my fiance and her family who were in town to visit. And you know, normally when I go to a Disney store, I don't really find anything in there that really piques my interest to purchase. So, you know, I was more so there for, you know, my fiance's family and their children who were kind of shopping around for toys and things like that. It's more of a little kid store in a lot of ways, but there was one thing that I saw in the Marvel section, or I guess discount area section, that kind of piqued my interest, and I caved and decided to pick it up. And that is, I'll try to show this without having to back up too much with the camera. That is this Doctor Strange gallery diorama figure. So I believe, and I'm sorry about the reflection here from the plastic, but this is the same company that I have for my Iron Man figures, I believe. The two Iron Man figures, and I believe the Spider-Gwen figure that I have, that I just don't have any space to display in this room, unfortunately. But yeah, I went ahead and decided to pick this up because first off, this is the comic book version of Doctor Strange, so you got the nice yellow gloves, the yellow sash, the cloak of levitation, and like there's also some nice details here. You can't really see it too well, but you can see that his base is kind of like fighting off different like creatures and stuff. So pick this up for half off. This normally retails for 50 bucks, and I got it for 25, which I thought was a pretty good deal. To be honest, like I said, I bought this with the full intention of displaying it once, you know, my fiance and I move into a bigger place, possibly a townhome or a house at some point. But for right now, I do have a spot where I can, you know, safely store this and make sure that it isn't damaged. So you can see here, I probably should have been showing here the back the whole time because that's probably a better image there. But yeah, you can see the figure here, pretty detailed. Like I said, this is not like a crazy detailed like $100 figure. You know, this is kind of my price range of what I can afford, and you know, honestly, it looks really nice displayed. So as I mentioned earlier, this is way down the line, and obviously, you know, plans can change and everything. But my plan is once we move into a bigger space to kind of separate my comic collection from my Lego collection in terms of displaying and storing. So once that happens, I do plan to pull out all the statues that I have of different characters and display them next to their comics and stuff like that. So but yeah, this is really cool and definitely why I jumped on pretty quickly. Just a really great figure here, and I really love, like I said, the base is really interesting there. So neat. And again, for 25 bucks, I thought that was a pretty good deal. The box is huge, by the way. I guess that's just how they store them. So, but yeah, no worries there. So there's that. All right, so we'll get into this huge haul. So yeah, I've been pretty busy these last couple of weeks. Some of these were, a lot of this stuff is in stock trades orders. I think there's about 3 or 4 orders here of in stock trades. Some of them were just really delayed just because one book was being held up and was causing the whole delivery to be delayed. So hence the reason why it took so long. And for me, I kind of separated out the like Second and Charles stuff that I picked up last haul video from this stuff, just because I wanted to have like 2 separate videos for content. So that's that. I also bought a bunch of stuff from the Target sale, which recently happened and has recently ended actually. So they do that sale about once a quarter. So if you're interested in kind of checking out its stuff again, I would recommend checking back maybe around September timeframe, possibly. October is usually when they do that, but the sale itself is essentially buy 2 get 1 free on all books, and comic books fall into that category. So you know, Target's initial discounts aren't as good as in stock trades, but they do discount the books a little bit, usually around 20 to 30% off, which once you stack that onto the buy 2 get 1 free, it actually works out to less than IST prices. At least that's what I've been able to see for the most part. So I did pick up some stuff there that I found in my, you know, list of stuff that I needed to get for completing my collection here. And as you can imagine from the thumbnail here of this video, I was able to complete my collection of Attack on Titan. So this stack is very heavy. I'll show all the covers here very shortly, but this is volumes 17 through 34 of Attack on Titan. So this brings me to completing the series in terms of collecting, and I'm very, very excited to get into reading all of this and finish reading this. So picked up this whole stack here for about $96, which when you think about how much that works out to per book, it's very minimal. It's like maybe $6 or $7 a volume, I think, or maybe less than that, probably about $5 a volume, I think. Something like that, I believe. But yeah, I mean, you really can't get it any cheaper than that. So I'll just go through and show the covers here. You can see here the thumbnail, this one, we'll do that. So as I mentioned, I am on volume 11 right now, so I'm still kind of a ways away, but I do recognize a lot of the characters and stuff like that on this book, on these books now. So it's really nice to have that background. You can see there. I'm just going through the covers because I'm not going to review what the chapters are, but yeah, like I said, I'm really impressed with this series. I keep, you know, at the end of all these volumes, I do see ads for the anime, and I do really want to watch that at some point. Just a matter of finding a place where I can reliably stream it to watch it. But yeah, this is gonna be fun, and a little interesting how I'm going to try to how to store these. Obviously, I can't really display these on a shelf like what's behind me. Unfortunately, you know, they're kind of wonky in terms of their size and stuff like that, so I really can't show them, you know, the best way possible. So I'm gonna have to find a way to kind of store these in a different way. So there's volume 30, got volume 31, which I hope none of these volumes I hope none of these covers kind of spoil things for me, but you can see here that that is getting towards the end here. And then obviously we get into volume 34, which honestly, this looks like it's the chunkiest of all of them. Just looking at it, holding this volume by itself, just feels very, very much thicker like than the other ones. So yeah, and this one is called Freedom, or Freedom's on the back. So really neat. Like I said, I've heard only good things about Attack on Titan from my friends, and a lot of that is justified. I mean, just from what I've read so far, I'm really enjoying the series. And you know, I've read a lot of comics in my time, and this is one book that I genuinely look forward to reading every single day. It's really fun to just, you know, read this series, you know, enjoy the characters, be on this journey with the characters, and just seeing where this will go. I'm really excited. So yeah, if that wasn't a good sales pitch for Attack on Titan, I don't know what is. So there's that. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get into all the other books I have here. Starting first with a series that I picked up a couple days ago, actually. I was at Books A Million. I was stopping home from work, and I decided to stop at a nearby Books A Million and picked up a couple books here. I'll show the first series of books that I got here, as well as another book that I'll show later in this haul. But the first series of books here I got was A-Force. So I did the research, and it turns out that this is the entirety of A-Force. I do remember buying a couple of A-Force single issues when they were first coming out in 2015. But unfortunately, the series got canceled after 5 issues. And then they came back with a second volume of it in 2016. I do believe this got canceled early just because of Secret Wars. I want to say that's what happened. But this collects issues 1 through 5 of A-Force number 1. And essentially the concept with this was basically an Avengers-like team that was consisted of completely female characters. So on the front here, you had, you know, She-Hulk, Medusa, Spider-Woman, you know, Jean Grey, Captain Marvel, and then a bunch of other female heroes in the back, which I think is a really cool cover there. So yeah, we'll give this a read at some point. And then, you know, we get into volume 1. So this is technically volume 0. I guess they just decided to number it that just because of Secret Wars. So after Secret Wars, they you know, renumbered it, and you know, this collects the first 4 issues of A-Force volume 2, and has a bunch of other stuff thrown in here. For some random reason, they have Avengers number 83, which I'm kind of curious as to why that's in here. I did read that issue. I guess it's the introduction. Yeah, it's the introduction of Valkyrie. So maybe that's why they decided to throw that in there. But yeah, interesting. Really cool to pick this up. Again, you know, should be a quick read there for that. And then the last volume here we get into, it's called Race Against the Dying of the Light. And this collects issues 5 through 10 of A-Force. So this series unfortunately ended after 10 issues. So there's that, but I'll show some interiors here. Some decent art going on there, kind of nice art style there. But yeah, you can see like Captain Marvel, She-Hulk, Medusa. So a pretty good team on paper. I'm excited to see what this is about, and you know, we'll kind of read those probably in some point. You know, they honestly probably could make an A-Force movie if they wanted to, or a show, because they do have all these characters kind of introduced in the MCU. I guess except for Medusa, who's kind of like in Inhumans purgatory right now. I'm not sure when they're ever going to bring those characters back, but hey, we'll see, right? So there's that. Okay, moving on here. One of the one of the very few DC books I have here in this haul, and that is Adam Strange, Strange Adventures. So this book was on a pretty good sale, and pretty good deal, to be honest. I got this for like 17 bucks on IST, which I think is a pretty decent deal for this series. This is a Tom King book with art by Mitch Gerads and Evan Dockshainer. I'm not sure if that's a colorist or another artist there, but yeah, so story behind this book. I know that this was a book that was coming out when I was still doing Crackle Comics with Mike and Vince, and I did read a couple of issues, but just because the book was coming out monthly, or I'm not sure if it was bi-weekly or whatever cadence it was, I just couldn't get into it just because I just didn't know a lot about the character. And, you know, especially when books come out monthly, especially when you read a lot of books, sometimes things get forgotten between issues that I just wasn't really sure about. So I'm hopeful that this book will read better in trade. And I recently read Tom King's Miracle Man, which I thought was really good. And this seems to be a lot in the same vein as that. This might even be the same artist. I think it is, that did that series. So, you know, I'm very much interested. I really like Tom King's writing. I mean, I've read Miracle Man, as I mentioned. I've read Vision. I have most of his Batman run, which I haven't dipped too much into. I did jump on kind of towards the tail end of the series during like City of Bane and stuff like that. But yeah, this is really cool to read now in full. This collects the 12-issue series, so very similar to Miracle Man, you know, 12-issue maxi series, all self-contained type of stuff. So really cool to read this, and this is part of the DC Black label as well, as it shows on the top there. And really do like the cover here and the side. Kind of makes it look like it's beat up and stuff, which I think that's one thing I feel like DC definitely has Marvel beat in terms of spine art. I think they do a really good job of like individualizing stuff a lot and making stuff look unique with their spines. Marvel is very uniform, which I guess, you know, whatever you prefer, you know, both of them are not, neither one's, you know, the right way to do it. I think they're just different, right? So really cool to see that. All right, moving on here. I do have a bunch of Epic collections from this haul video that we'll go through. A bunch that I've kind of put off buying, that some of them I used the sale from Target to pick up, and some other ones I just picked up just because of my like weekly purchases. Marvel is pumping out a bunch of Epics, and they've committed to the Epic line now, especially because they're introducing a whole new line of Epic collections called Modern Epic Collections, which are basically large paperbacks collecting more modern runs of characters and teams. So really interesting to see how that will develop and how this line will continue to grow, which makes me happy because obviously I'm hoping for some reprints of some Epics that I've missed in the past. So we'll see how that goes. But anyways, the first one I picked up here was one that I felt was pretty overdue. This one's been out for a while, and I just kept putting it off and decided to just pick it up now. And that is the Ant-Man Giant Man Epic Collection here, Volume 2. And this does collect a slew of different things. This continues the Tales to Astonish stuff with Ant-Man, so that does wrap up. We get issues 60 through 69 of that series. And then we get Marvel Premiere numbers 4 through 10, Power Man number 24 through 25, and then probably the thing that I'm probably looking forward to reading the most is Black Goliath numbers 1 through 5, just because it's been really hard to find that in any type of collected edition at all. So it's really nice that they threw that in here. It makes sense just because of Bill Foster and, you know, his evolution with the character. You also get Champions 11 through 13, which I've already read. Marvel Premiere numbers 47 through 48, and material from Iron Man number 44. So there are some things in here that I've already read and probably will skip just in the interest of time and trying to get this book read. But yeah, this is the other chunk of Ant-Man material that we just didn't have collected for a long time, and I'm really glad that we have it here. Obviously, this gets into the era of Scott Lang. So if you're into that, but obviously, you know, the stories from Tales to Astonish are still have Hank Pym as Ant-Man. So um, yeah, this is definitely a good mix of stuff. I mean, you can see here on the back, just you can see Black Goliath there, but just the amount of years this spans, you know, we go from 1964 all the way through 1973. So a lot of time covered here in this book, which makes me excited to read this and just see how this evolves over the years. But Ant-Man is definitely one of my top probably 5 or 10 characters. You know, in terms of comic book characters, I really like his stuff. You know, his publication history is very minimal, obviously, but the Hank Pym character, you know, the Scott Lang characters are very interesting to me, and obviously, I'm a big fan of the movies as well. But yeah, this is a nice addition to that collection here. So pretty much have most of Ant-Man's publication history. So it will be nice to read this at some point. All right, moving on here, we get into Captain America, who has a movie due out middle of next year, I think. I think they pushed the date back to like maybe November or so of next year. But that Captain America readathon is coming. Probably going to be starting that early 2024 just because I have so much to read through. It's going to take me a long time to get through all those eras of Captain America, but I am committed to reading it. And this is one additional book to add to that collection, and this is the Captain America Fighting Chance Epic Collection. So I believe this may be the last Epic Collection for Mark Grunwald. I might be wrong, but anyways, this collects issues 420 through 430 of Captain America, as well as annual number 13, and Nomad numbers 18 through 19, Captain America, The Medusa Effect, and Captain America, Nick Fury, Blood Truce. So we get some nice concurrent issues here of Captain America. We get an annual, some Nomad stuff, and then some, I guess, like graphic novel spin-off stuff, which I'm kind of excited to read. I think that's going to be cool. But yeah, you can see here some Mark Grunwald. I don't think this is the end of his run. I think there's another epic that I don't know the name of off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure there's another epic that comes out after this that finishes up his run. But yeah, really cool to have this. You know, you can see here the back. This is getting into the 90s, so this represents 93 through 95 of Captain America. This is the 20th Epic Collection volume that came out. So yeah, really cool to get this. Like I said, just slowly filling in the holes here for Captain America, which there aren't many. I think the only real holes in collecting the Captain America line are kind of around that Kirby era. I have the omnibus for Kirby, which I don't anticipate them making epic collections of. I think that's probably like the lowest priority thing they're gonna do, just because the omnibus is, you know, in print. At least I think it still is. It might not be out. It might be out of print right now, but yeah, I think we only have a couple of gaps around like that era. Mark Grunwald's run is pretty much all but finished, I think. I don't think I think there might be, there might be one volume that's left to come out, but otherwise it's crazy how many Captain America epics there are out right now and how many they continue to pump out that are new. So really cool to see that for sure. All right. Next book I got here finishes up a collecting of a series that I'm definitely anticipating to enjoy very much so, and probably will be pushing up towards the top of the reading pile at some point, and that is Deadly Class Volume 11. So in my last haul video, I did talk about how I was able to find all but one volume of Deadly Class that I needed to finish my collection of the series, and this was that one volume I could not find at Second and Charles. So this collects issues 49 through 52 of Deadly Class, and this is the second to last volume of the series before it wrapped up. So 12 paperbacks, 2+ years later, I have finally finished collecting this series, which, you know, obviously, you know, it's not like I was in a huge rush to read this series, but since the time I started collecting this, there has been a show that's come out for it, and I'm not sure if they're still making more seasons. They might have gotten canceled. I don't know. But yeah, there's that. And here's the back. Really do like Rick Remender's work. I think this is going to be a very interesting book to read. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I've heard people say that this book is basically X-Men, but instead of students, they are assassins. So we'll see how that goes. So, very excited. You know, most of the series that I've been trying to finish collecting for a while now, I've been able to find all the paperbacks for, so there's no excuse for me to wait to read any of these series anymore, pretty much. So I'm very excited for that. All right. Next book here we get into is another epic collection that kind of dragged my heels on just because I feel like I've read my fill of this character, but since the last time I did my readathon of this character last year, I have since bought, I think, 1 or 2 more books of this character, and that is Doctor Strange. This is the epic collection Nightmare on Bleecker Street. So there is a gap here. So I do have the Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme Omnibus Volume 1, and that does collect up to issue 40 of this series. Unfortunately, this book collects issues 48 through 61 of Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme, so there is a little bit of a gap there, as well as Annual number 3, Morbius the Living Vampire number 9, and material from Marvel Comics Presents number 146, and Marvel Superheroes numbers 12 and 14. So kind of a conglomerate of stuff. This basically represents some of the material that would be in Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme Omnibus Volume 2, but unfortunately that book has been long out of print, and I don't foresee that coming into print anytime soon. So this is the next best thing. I may eventually downgrade to Epic Collections for all of Doctor Strange, but the other book that precedes this volume, I didn't see a good reason to pay like $20-some for 6 or 7 issues that I needed to fill in the gap. I think I'll be fine just not knowing what those issues are about. But yeah, this book looks amazing. This is actually the cover that they use for Volume 2 of the Omnibus, which I thought was kind of funny. Yeah, you can kind of see here. I wonder if they explain that this is the give me 1 second here. Yeah, so sure enough, they show the recolored version of the Omnibus cover here for Volume 2 in here, so I think that's kind of hilarious. But yeah, I really did enjoy the art in this series, and I think we're getting to the point now where we're, you know, this is the 92 through 94 Doctor Strange, and we're definitely getting to the era here where we're getting a lot more action, a lot bigger panels, a lot more, you know, action over dialogue, which I always prefer. Makes it for an easier read, I guess. But yeah, I'm really excited to plunge into this stuff. I really, like I said, I really much enjoyed my Doctor Strange readathon I did last year in preparation for Multiverse of Madness, and I'm very excited to see kind of what this material is about for sure. So yeah, that is the Epic Collection here for Doctor Strange. Man, this is a long haul video. This might go to about like 40 minutes or so, so just bear with me here. But next book I picked up here was Volume 9 of Flash. So this is the first volume by Joshua Williamson that does not have the Rebirth, I guess, trade spine, whatever you want to call it. This is a different look here, but this collects issues 52 through 57. The volume is called Reckoning of the Forces. You can see here the back as well. So there's that. And you can see here some art as well. So really cool, and excited to keep collecting this series. I don't know how far I'm gonna go up. Maybe I'll keep collecting until Josh Williamson jumps off the book. You know, I'll see if I want more or not. All right. So keeping with the Rick Remender theme, we get another volume here that finishes off yet again another series that I've been collecting, and that is Low. This is volume 5, so a much smaller series here, but it is illustrated and, you know, obviously drawn I don't know why I said illustrated, but I guess drawn by Greg Ticini. So really beautiful artwork going on inside here. And this collects issues 20 through 26 of the series. So this is 26 issue series. I'm pretty sure whenever I get around to reading this, I'll probably be able to finish this in a week or so, maybe less than that. So yeah, really neat to have that finished as well. And we'll add that to the collection. This is the other book that I picked up from Books A Million, and that is Multiple Man. It All Makes Sense in the End. That's the name of the series here. So this is, I'm assuming, just a mini series of Multiple Man from X Factor. So yeah, really dynamic art here, and I do like the coloring as well in this book. I think it's really neat. But yeah, picked this up, and while I was at it at Books A Million, I forgot to mention earlier, I did renew my annual membership, so I did get a gift card to buy another book. So I did order another book off of Books A Million, so that'll be getting to me shortly here. But yeah, really cool to have this. I haven't dove into my X Factor reading yet. My plan was probably to wait until they put out the subsequent omnibus for the material that I am missing, that I can't collect through paperback, and jump onto that and collect it all and then read it. So Peter David's X Factor run is super long, so I don't know when they're going to finish collecting that. It's probably going to be a while. I think they just either solicited or put out volume 3 of X Factor, which is technically the second volume of his like 2000s run, or like, I'm not sure when it started, but it's the subsequent volume of X Factor, if that makes sense. So yeah, long story aside, really cool to get this Multiple Man book. Next 3 books here are Epic Collections, so I'll go through them pretty quickly. Picked up the New Mutants Epic Collection, The End of the Beginning. This collects issues 90 through 100 of New Mutants, annual number 7, Uncanny X-Men 270 to 272, X Factor 60 through 62, and material from New Warriors annual number 1, X-Men annual number 15, and X Factor annual number 6. So this does heavily dip with the X-Men Extinction Agenda paperback that I have. I think it's missing the New Mutants issues, I think, or something like that. So I'll have to check. I may end up selling that Extinction Agenda volume. Or wait, I think that Extinction Agenda volume has more Uncanny X-Men issues that aren't collected in here. So yeah, that's the tricky part with these epics and just X-Men in general, is once you get into the era where you have 3, 4, 5 different types of X books that are coming out at this time. You know, you got New Mutants, X Factor, X-Force. Well, actually, I don't think X-Force is out yet at this point. It kind of gets iffy with the collecting piece of it, because there's a lot of double dipping that can get involved. So, but yeah, I decided to grab this just because it's a subsequent volume, and again, I think it's a more complete version of a paperback that I probably will need for my collection. So there's that. Next volume, oh, I forgot to show some art here. I'll show some art. There's Deadpool, so if you're into that, there you go. Next volume I got here was another epic, and that is the She-Hulk Epic Collection that directly follows the Breaking the Fourth Wall Epic Collection. This is the Cosmic Squish Principle. So at this point, John Byrne has left the book. He only wrote the first like 12 or 10 issues or so of She-Hulk before jumping off the book. But you can see here some of the artwork here. This collects She-Hulk, Sensational She-Hulk number 13 through 30, and material from Marvel Superheroes number 5. So a bunch of different writers on here. I don't know, that might be Steve Gerber, you know, Walter Simonson. Yeah, just a bunch of different creators on this book, but I think they all try to keep the same kind of theme as what John Byrne kind of left for them. Which, you know, to be honest, I wasn't too disappointed with like the drop off from Byrne to other writers. I think they did a decent job of keeping this book afloat, and I guess it showed with the fact that they kept making more issues of it. So yeah, we'll give this a read at some point. Again, this was a character that I was fully caught up on up until this point where I bought this book last year when I read all this She-Hulk stuff in preparation for her TV show. So I'll be going back and rereading this at some point. I think I should just dedicate some time, maybe in the next month or so, just to like going back and rereading material from characters that have had like shows or stuff come out and I've bought other books of since then, but we'll see. Okay, getting into another epic collection here. Picked up volume 7 of Star Wars, The Empire. This collects a bunch of stuff that I will go through pretty quickly here. This has a lot of Blood Ties Star Wars stuff. It has Star Wars Empire, Star Wars Underworld, the Yavin Vasokia. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. And you can see here the back. But yeah, I picked this up just because I'm waiting for them to reprint volume 6 just because it's out of print. And I need that to kind of complete my Empire collection up until this point. But to be honest, I don't think we're too far away from this series being complete. We do have Free Comic Book Day 2013 in here. And obviously, as we all know, you know, Disney bought Star Wars in 2012 and I believe started publishing comics for Star Wars starting in 2015, I want to say. It might have been earlier, but, you know, again, we're not too far away from bridging the gap from the Dark Horse material, which is what's in here, to the Disney Marvel comics that have been coming out since 2015 or so. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes. I'll show some artwork here, something that's maybe a little bit more interesting. So it's kind of cool. This looks like a quick read. I do want to dive into these Star Wars epics. I know I keep saying that, but I really do want to read it. I think it's something I'm going to really enjoy reading. I just have so much more else to read, which obviously kind of shows here with this haul. But cool. Well, we'll show off the next book I have here, and that is Planetary Omnibus. This book I was trying to find for a while. I believe I did see a decent sale for this during like Black Friday, and by the time I went to go try to order it, it went out of stock again. And this book goes in and out of stock a lot. So I was happy that I was able to find this, and you know, this is a really good price for this book. I got it for like around 40 some bucks for an omnibus this big. I mean, you really can't beat that price. This collects Planetary numbers 1 through 27, Planetary Batman number 1, Planetary JLA number 1, and Planetary Authority number 1. So the whole series is in here. No volume 2 needed. And I'm really excited to read this. I know Warren Ellis is a problematic character now in the comic book industry. But obviously I've heard a lot of good things about this series, and I'm really, really excited to dive into that at some point. I got some really nice omnibus in my collection that I can just pick up and read. I'm probably planning on doing that like my next travel, like where I'm traveling. I'm probably just going to pack like one omnibus and just try to read through that one omnibus on a flight. You know, just trying to keep something a little bit lighter though, so it's not too heavy. But yeah, there's that. And the last book here that I have that I probably was looking forward to getting the most, and I was so excited when this book came out just because it was the realization of a dream that most of us comic collectors had at some point. And for a while there, it was kind of patchy with bridging this gap for this series. And now it's finally come true. You know, a lot of people nowadays, especially with all the reprints that have come out and new printings of otherwise, you know, unpublished material, most people can now say that they have collected most, if not all, of Chris Claremont's X-Men. And that is complete with this series and this omnibus, Uncanny X-Men Volume 5. I can't tell you how excited I was to order this and to get this book. It was worth every dime. I went with a direct market variant, I believe is what this is, which basically is the cover from X-Men 200, where Magneto takes over the team. You can see here the cover roll in the back. This collects Uncanny X-Men 194 to 209, the X-Men Annuals numbers 9 through 10, New Mutants Special Edition number 1, Annual number 2, and Nightcrawler numbers 1 through 4, and Longshot numbers 1 through 6, and Marvel Fanfare number 33. So a lot of great stuff in this book. Definitely a turning point for the book before we get into Mutant Massacre, I believe. And also having those Longshot and Nightcrawler miniseries here is definitely a nice treat, especially after the previous volume of Volume 4 for Uncanny X-Men, where we got the Kitty Pryde and Wolverine miniseries, which I really, really much enjoyed reading that. So this will definitely be pushed up on the list here for me to read once I want to go through the rest of my X-Men readathon, now that there's nothing stopping me from finishing that run. So yeah, just gotta say thank you, Marvel, for this. The only thing that triggers me, and I wish they didn't do this, but obviously I know why they did it, because they're doing it with all the books, is the spines will never look the same. This spine is awful. I hate it. The only redeeming factor is that little blurb with the image there on the bottom, but it's just so small, the text, and I just hate it. And it's not going to match my other ones, but it is what it is, right? At least it's the last volume of this group, and it's not going to stand out too much in that regard, but yeah. So for people who are trying to jump on the Uncanny X-Men train, most of the books are in print. I think the only one that is out of print right now, they're trying to get back in print, is Volume 4, ironically enough. But I think 1 through 3 are still readily available somewhere. Maybe not. I know they flow in and out, but I know with the publishing of this book in particular, I'm sure that Marvel will prioritize reprinting all those other volumes, just so newcomers can, you know, pick everything up and have everything in order, so that there's no gaps there. When that will happen, I can't tell you. I'm pretty sure that even Marvel probably can't tell you right now, but I'm sure that we'll be getting news of that stuff soon. You know, they're usually pretty good with that, especially with a book like Uncanny X-Men. I mean, shit, I think volumes 1 and 2 have probably reached like as many printings as like Amazing Spider-Man, or close to it. So there's that. But yeah, 40 minutes. I told you it was going to take 40 minutes, and here we are. So thank you guys so much again for watching this comic section. I hope it was informative and entertaining. And let's go ahead and get into the Lego section here. Alright guys, so after that really long portion of my comic haul, I'll keep it very short here with this Lego haul. Just like pretty much every haul video I've had these last couple weeks here, I only have one set to show you, but I do have one other small thing I wanted to show you that was Lego related. And I won't go too much in detail about it on this channel, just because I don't think it's the right stage to talk about this or not, but I recently did go through surgery, you know, and one thing I just want to guarantee my viewers out there is that I am 100% fine now. Everything is good. There is no long-term consequences for my surgery. I am back to 100%, and I'm actually feeling better than I was before. Again, I'm not going to bore you guys with the details, but yeah, I was in surgery and recovery in a hospital for a little bit of time. And one thing that, you know, I mentioned earlier, my fiance's family came to visit after I was out of the hospital and recovering at home. And they were actually nice enough to go and get me a Lego set as kind of like a recovery gift. And I'm very thankful for them for that. They certainly didn't have to do that, but I really, really appreciate it. You know, they're very great people to have, and I'm very excited for them to be my in-laws one day, and to be part of my larger family. You know, so very excited for that. But anyways, they did go to the Lego store to buy some smaller things for me. I don't actually have them with me, but they did buy me some like Lego pens, which I thought were kind of cool. And while they were in there, they actually bought me a Lego passport, which apparently you can bring to other Lego stores, and they can, like, you know, stamp your passport. And apparently after a certain amount of punches or so, you can get like different things with your VIP account or something. So I do a VIP account, and I'll make sure to bring this with me when I go to the Lego stores. The nearest ones near me are in the Christiana Mall, as I mentioned probably in other videos, as well as King of Prussia. So yeah, really cool to get this. And again, thank you so much, Adam and Alicia, for picking this up for me while they were at that store. They also got me a set at Walmart, actually, that I unfortunately already owned, but they did give me the receipt to kind of trade in and use to put towards another set. So the set they did get me was the Luke Skywalker Red 5 helmet, which I actually already owned. So I went and returned that, and I did get another helmet in exchange for that, and that is the Captain Rex helmet. Funny story with this, I was actually looking in the Lego aisle at my local Walmart, and I didn't see this helmet available at first, so I picked up the Commander Cody helmet, which I think is like probably second on my list to pick up. I was definitely looking for this first and foremost, just because I'm a huge Clone Wars fan, and obviously I'm a big Captain Rex fan. So we were walking towards a checkout, and we walked through like this like seasonal area, and they had a bunch of like Lego sets like set up there, like all the 18 plus sets like that were available. And sure enough, I found this set over there, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm putting the Commander Cody back, and I'm gonna pick this up. So this was an even exchange. They both cost the same amount of money, and yeah, really cool to pick this up. I mean, I've heard a lot of rumors that this is the last wave of helmet sets that we're gonna get from Lego. This being the Captain Rex helmet, the Commander Cody helmet, and the Boushh helmet from Return of the Jedi. So I definitely want to finish off collecting the entire group of helmets here. So this is the first one I got, and I'm sure later on this year we'll see a sale for Commander Cody and the Boushh helmet. They've only been out for like 3 or 4 months maybe at this point, so I'm being patient. I know there's going to be a sale here probably towards the end of this year for those helmets, so I'll wait my turn there and pick them up for 20% off and probably a gift card as well. So we'll see. But yeah, this is the only Lego set I picked up. I'm certainly buying way less now. Again, like I said, just trying to jump on them as the sales come out. But like I said before, there's just not a lot of sales out there right now. I mean, there's very few and far in between, and just a lot of sets that I'm just making hard decisions on. Like, do I absolutely want this for my collection? And if the answer is yes, then I grab it. If I tell myself I can probably live without that set, I don't buy it. So definitely a little bit more selective with my purchasing here of Lego, which I know I've talked about ad nauseum here on this channel, but it's definitely something I consider, especially now that space is shrinking always here in this room, and I'm just trying to be cognizant of that. So but yeah, that's my Lego haul here. Again, thanks for watching, and I'm surprised I was able to lengthen this out to 5 minutes for just one set, but let's go ahead and get into the outro for this video. Alright guys, so again, thank you so much for watching. So as I mentioned, this haul, especially with all the comics, this was probably about a month's worth of collecting for me, so I guess it's some way I can try to justify all the spending there, but just a lot of good releases. Again, a lot of good stuff that I had to kind of continue rounding out my collection here. But yeah, I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is probably gonna be one of the longest haul videos I have, probably about close to 50 minutes here or so. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day here, and until next time, I will see you guys on the flip side. Peace.